What up, world? Welcome to a special edition of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. Now, this episode will be dedicated to 32 teams in 32 days, NFL offseason edition. I am your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful and warm confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching or listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast not only here on YouTube, but on Substack, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Patreon, Trovo, and as well as on Podbean. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Thanks. Happy to be here with you guys on this beautiful June 28th, 2025. I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday. As I stated previously, this episode is going to be called 32 Teams in 32 Days. Today will be the initial start of this segment. It'll end July 28th, which is my birthday. Yay. But nonetheless, we're going to be chronologizing teams from worst to first. And then go over their offseason outlook and things that they need to do to prepare to be ready for the 2025-2026 season. But nonetheless, I want to make sure we give a shout out to several friends of the show before we get started. If you're an avid gamer like myself, Madden enthusiast, as you know, Saquon's on the cover. A lot of speculation and hoopla about how Madden's going to be this year. I definitely implore you to check it out. Like I said, it's only PlayStation Direct. There'll be a link within the description box of this video if you're looking for games, accessories, pre-orders, things of that nature. I implore you to definitely check it out. Sony PlayStation, more than a game. Looking to get out this weekend, looking to take your spouse out, have a great time with some friends, then look no further than the #1 leading ticket seller and reseller in the world, StubHub. #1 seller in the world for live events, tickets, shows, and concerts, StubHub. All right, guys, so hopping into this episode, we're going to, like I said, starting off from worst to first, 32 teams in 32 days. We're going to start off with the Tennessee Titans. Now, keep in mind, we all know, worst team in the league last year, 3-14 record. Drafted camward after the abomination of the Mayo God, a.k.a. Will Levis, and the performance that he put out there, dumbfounding performances at times that he displayed. We all knew that the change was coming for this organization. It's been something, they've kind of been in flux since the end of the Mike Vrabel, John Robinson tenure. I would argue that their team has been broken up ever since they got rid of A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry. Nonetheless, new day, new life, new regime. You have now, and it's kind of a weird dynamic in their front office as well. You have Mike Borgzani, who came from the Chiefs, who's listed as a GM, but technically Chad Brinker is the quasi-GM. Something I've reported on various episodes. It's well known, well documented now with the Titans. These guys are quote unquote, and you'll see here on the screen, these guys sitting together with Coach Brian Callahan. They're all working in conjunction. That being said, Dave Ziegler is the assistant GM. This team, like I said, was garbage last year. Defense was good. Offense was a walking dumpster fire. This team is in need of playmakers badly. Without question, they need playmakers. Offensive ranking, they were 27th in points, 26 in yards offense, so that definitely tells you right there how bad they were. And defensively, they were 30th in points and second in yards, which tells you they surrendered a shitload of points because they were on the field a lot. But as far as yards are concerned, they were one of the best defenses in the league. If you're a Titans fan, you got to be happy with what you got out of Pollard. Pollard coming from Dallas, injury year. The year prior, didn't know how he was going to be. He definitely played well. Calvin Ridley, all reliable for them at this point. And the defense had fundamental pieces where you could literally hang your hat on that and say, okay, we have a template and a core here. That was the only thing that was really established last year. Because outside of that, there were a ton of lowlights. We talked about Will Levis, a.k.a. the Mayo God. Garbage. Whether it's system, scheme, or just him not really understanding the moment. He's not a good quarterback. No coach, no organization is going to trust him with their franchise at this moment. And at this point in his career, the Titans really couldn't afford to wait another year. Now, I know that probably seems very hasty, but when you think about in the NFL now that the average rookie can come in and at some point plays in his rookie season and at some point takes over the starting job, you would only hope that this guy who's played for a year or so would be a lot better. He hasn't. He just hadn't worked out. I mean, hell, let's be honest. He's the reason Ray Carthon got fired. Probably wouldn't have happened, but Will Levis did not play up to the standard that he was supposed to. So that's that. The offensive line play was beyond suspect as well. That's something that they had to work on. Now, they've made a lot of acquisitions going into this offseason, a lot of moves to sit here and shore up to make sure that their team is prepared. A lot of things, assets allocated. So the Titans are definitely going to be better than what they were a year ago. I mean, hell, you're 3-14 from you have to be better than what you were a year ago. So that definitely, and the offensive line play should be better. They definitely allocated some resources this offseason to that. The questions for this team, for me, really strictly rely on the front office and ownership. I've loosely referenced it in the beginning, but I'm going to state it again. You kind of have a situation where the front office has the image like they don't know what they're doing. You've had several general managers now in and out over the past few years. Hasn't really worked out the way you wanted it to. So my whole, apprehension is the fact that what the fuck is really the plan in Tennessee? You got Cam Ward, right? You have a defense. You got Pollard there at running back. You got Calvin Ridley. You made another acquisition of wide receiving core. So you're trying to make sure Cam Ward has weapons. Get it. Without a better offensive line, though, this team is going nowhere. So I don't expect them to be 3-14, but if they can somehow get between 6, realistically speaking, they can get somewhere between 6 to 8, 6 to 9 wins. That's a successful season for the Tennessee Titans this year. Next, we're going to go talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, this was kind of a weird thing for them as well. Now, they picked number 2 in the draft, obviously. A lot of same situation for them. New day, new life, new regime. They fired the head coach and the general manager, Dougie P. and Trent Baalke, respectively. With the number 2 pick in the draft, they selected travishunter. It's been well documented with their trade with the Browns, how much draft capital they gave up. I like the move personally. They needed a playmaker. They needed excitement back in the building, something that's been missing from Jacksonville for a long time now. New head coach Liam Cohen coming in, breathing new life on offense. Like I said, Doug Peterson was fired from the year prior. It seemed like Dougie P may have lost the locker room or lost the team. I know Trent Baalke, the GM, the former GM, he definitely lost the team with his stupid ass decisions. Now, I can't say draft-wise all of those decisions have been failures, but his free agency decision-making has cost his team in a major, amount of ways. Letting Calvin Ridley walk for a bag of donuts, or nothing. Fuck a bag of donuts. You let him walk for nothing. Not retooling the offensive line, not adding to the running back room that I felt like they should have, or even adding to the defensive line the way they should have. It has truly cost this team and put them in a situation where they just bottomed out last year. Not to mention your quarterback play was one of the worst in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence definitely did not play up to snuff. So that goes without saying, as you guys can see here on the screen. But yeah, like I said, Trent Baalke must have had blackmail or pictures or something, voodoo hex, I don't know. But he had something to keep his job because he was a fucking horrible GM. So now with the release and departure of Trent Baalke, they now have new GM James Gladstone, who came from the Rams front office, was very instrumental in drafting a lot of guys. I touched on his tenure with the Rams before, drafting Puka Nacua, Byron Young, things like that, players of that ilk. So they got a GM that's got some vitality, some credit, some claim to fame, and a front office that just seems they're revitalized. That's something, like I said, this team and this fan base has needed tremendously. So you have a new philosophy, new voice. Now you need better players. Offensive ranking, garbage. 26 in points, 25th in yards. Defensive ranking, 27th in points, 31st in yards. Just not great. Now, just bottom feeding, garbage, bad teams. And keep in mind, this is a team that played Philadelphia last year in Philly, and Nakobe Dean doesn't make an amazing play in the end zone and interception, they win this game on the road in Philly. So there's a lot of things. It's just their inconsistency, not playing to the snuff and the level that they should have been playing to. It just goes without saying that's what will cause you to be 4-13. Another team with a suspect offensive line. This offensive line has just seemed like it's been an issue for 4 or 5 years now. Maybe there was like one season a couple years ago where they had it together and then all of a sudden it fell apart again. They have to definitely, and like I said, they've allocated resources to that this offseason through the draft, through free agency. So we'll see how much better the team is. Their running game was garbage last year. Definitely has to improve. There's no way in hell that you're going to keep teams off you. And Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to throw cleanly in a clean pocket if teams don't respect your running game. So that definitely played a factor into it. And again, with Trevor Lawrence, he was just bad last year. So he cannot be as bad as he was last year because we have to be honest, we have to start really evaluating him in a different light too. He's getting up there as far as years in the league, has not really lived up to the hype. Now, if he could be a solid, good quarterback, that's okay. That's fine. Jacksonville will take it. However, this kid has not really lived up to the hype. He already has the bag now. You know, kind of a victim. You know, Jacksonville was a victim of circumstance. The Jags had to pounce because without, giving Trevor Lawrence that deal, who was your quarterback? But I would have to argue that Trevor Lawrence was just as bad as a lot of those other guys last year, and he has to be better, and that team has to be better. Now, granted, he did get injured because with that shitty-ass offensive line, not being able to block, wasn't really conducive to his health or to the situation on offense, but he definitely must play better. And last but not least, questions regarding this team for this year are simple. Can their young playmakers make enough plays for them to be better? And can Lawrence elevate his game? Because without this being said, yes, they need playmakers. Yes, they need guys that can come in there and play the position at a high level. But without, and I repeat, without Trevor Lawrence playing at a high level, this team is going to be picking in the top of the draft again. And it may be he who has only a year or so left before he's replaced. That's going to do it for this segment, guys. Like I said, it wasn't a long one. I'll do episodes like this every day throughout the summer. Won't be long episodes. We'll just chronologize a team or two, 32 teams in 32 days. As always, I love you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Take care, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hey to all my fans and subscribers out in the UK. Looking to get out this weekend, looking to make something of your week, then look no further than the Viagogo, the #2 leading ticket seller in the world for live events, shows, and concerts. Definitely check it out. If you're looking for exclusive tickets, look in the description of my videos on the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. Take care and enjoy your day.